Welcome into another edition of Gas. I am Gresh. He is Jason. Anik.
You were playing everybody and we're winning the game last night.
The head coach is fighting people on the sidelines.
What do you got for me?
I know you're a part of Tight Pants Society.
No f***ing play is that a gimme, right?
Let's go! Oh my goodness, let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. People have brackets in their hands. It's that time of year for brackets, ladies and gentlemen. Other than the Super Bowl, this is the, in terms of wagering and being a member of the Degenerati, as we are here on Gas. I'm Gresh, he's Jason Anik. This is a very fun time of the year, a couple of fun weekends to dive into some college basketball betting, but boy, oh boy, do we have so much to unpack. It's been 2 weeks. I fucked up last week by flying back from Vegas on a Monday. So here we are on a Monday afternoon, stealing audience away from those who do it more often. And Jay Anik, how are you, buddy? We have a lot of Patriots to talk about today.
I'm great. You know, on the West Coast, it's the morning drive at 11 a.m. On the best coast, I might add. But Gresh, isn't it amazing? We miss 1 week. I feel like I haven't seen you in a month. I miss you. You were at UFC 326. We didn't cross paths in Vegas because I wasn't there when you were there. Mm-hmm. Let me just ask you, did you do VEASAN yesterday morning?
Yeah. I did it yesterday morning, and the weekend. And when I was in Vegas, it killed me by the end of the night. But I went and did it from the Circus Studios down there just to kind of feel sort of the sportsbook buzz of doing a show for them in those studios, which admittedly was pretty dope. I'm glad I got up and did it. But by 9 o'clock that night, my wife, Bets, was like, "You're a zombie." And she was not wrong. Yeah.
So was it 6 a.m. Pacific time?
Pacific. Yeah. After 326.
Wow. But I love that you did that, and I love that you're going hard every Sunday morning. So for me in South Florida, forgive me for asking you this. On Sunday morning, I was like, I didn't chase it down, but how do I listen to you on Sunday morning if I'm in South Florida?
If you have Sirius XM, it's on channel 158. I
don't, because what if you don't have Sirius?
Okay, then I was going to say, I think it streams on iHeartRadio app, I do believe.
Okay.
I think it comes through there. If I know they're on a lot of different regional networks that I am unaware of.
Did they have cameras on you when you were in there? Were we doing it?
Yeah. I the only thing I had though was my golf gear. I forgot to bring, like, if I wore a golf shirt and a sports coat, it would have been fine. Well, I forgot the sports coat. So there I am Saturday night after UFC 326, where we do what we always do. We go to the Aria, to that Posh Burger. Have you had Posh Burger in the Aria?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Muhammad took me there. Yep.
Oh my God. It's the only one in the world. I forget what fight it was. It would have been a couple years ago. One of the dudes who like won on the card was like standing in line right there. And I said, like, my kids, the boys, and they're like, oh my God, they were ready to go right up to him. And, but that place is dope. So after that, I got back and I'm like, oh man, I forgot my sports coat. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Go to Macy's to pick one up. Not that easy.
No. I'm not getting a 60 long at midnight. Right. So I always wear a vest when I play golf. So I just threw the vest on, went down there like casual Joe, and they were fine with it. They framed it up. It looked good.
I bet.
But it was an experience, to say the least. To see the people that are in the Circus Sportsbook at 5:45 a.m. Pacific time, brother, that's a group.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm not jealous. I'm excited. I wish I would have been there to just sit outside the clear glass and watch it, but I absolutely love it. What else do I want to get to before we get into serious stuff? Most of it is serious stuff, but how was UFC 326? And because I'm not trying to, I want to know what your experience was like, and I kind of want to touch on the main event because I'm curious what you thought.
Okay, so from an event feel, all right, now I did not know. We had 6 people going because this was for my youngest 21st birthday, But of course, my wife overpromised and like brought her best friend's daughter and boyfriend, and we flew the oldest up from Florida. Originally, he wasn't going to go, so it turned into 6. So buying a block of 6, not easy, especially 2 weeks before the event. So I ended up buying some, and it said Bud Light Lounge, and I'm like, what in the world is that? Turns out in T-Mobile Arena, they have their own little club area, right? Where you get your own food, your own drink, it's your own bars, your own bathrooms. We had no idea what it was. We were like, Bud Light Lounge, what the hell does that mean? We get there and we're like, oh my God, this is the equivalent of having club seats. Now, my wife is 5 foot tall in the morning, but we were in the back row. So of course there's the build up, or at least the way it's formed concrete wise. It's a pretty tall back, so she was able to stand when she wanted to and not get in the way of any of the people behind us. It was like the handicap section. And oh my God, we completely stumbled into having these great seats. Jay, here's the point that I did want to make, because I even said it when we were sitting there. It didn't feel like a pay-per-view. It was the first numbered event that I went to that it was
in the Paramount Plus era. Go ahead.
Really late arriving crowd. There wasn't the buzz until Dober's knockout. There wasn't the buzz after Dober had his knockout. Then people were kind of buzzing a little bit. The crowd naturally, for me, for the pay-per-views that I've gone to, the crowd kind of starts itself. It doesn't need prompting, right? This crowd kind of needed prompting, which was weird for an event. But, the main event was, it was what it was stylistically.
Yep.
But it also didn't have the buzz. There were a lot of Max Holloway fans in the building, and Oliveira is one of the most popular fighters in the UFC. He always gets buzz. But I thought there was big Max representation in that crowd that night. And, the BMF title, okay, it's cool. It was fun. It's kind of, I think it's had its run. If Oliveira retires it and he gets to keep it, then fine. The fight sucked. I mean, there's just no other way around it. If you were looking for action, it wasn't it. But if you were Charles Oliveira, that's the exact way to go win that fight. You're not going to stand there and try to throw hammers at Max Holloway. Justin Gaethje proved that that's a bad idea.
Really well put. And I will say, right, if in fact it wasn't for the baddest motherfucker belt, which we know is, then, if you sort of forget that for a minute, Charles put himself right back in title contention, didn't he? Right. And that fact is exciting for me. Cody, I love the black and white. Good shit there. But anyway, it's a New England sports show, so let's get past that. But I'm too bad I missed you out there. I like everything you're doing with VSiN and everything out. Oh, that black and white's doing things for me. So first topic today, Andrew Gresh the third, Patriots free agency. I'm so excited to get your thoughts on this overall. And I want to start by just making a point. I know we're going to talk about the Celtics later, but we have talked about how the Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens in this offseason did everything right. Drew Holiday, you let him out the door. That's okay. Kristaps Porzingis, you let him out the door. That's okay. But certainly you kept Derek White, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I really feel as though the Patriots, you can't keep everybody. K'Lavon Chaisson walking out that door kills me because I love that dude. But overall, I think they sort of let the guys go that they should. And I like what they've brought in overall. You could start anywhere you want.
Well, it's interesting because when you look at it on paper, I don't know if they are talent-wise better than where they were. But I think they're a better football team. And what I mean by that is you shore up the left guard spot with Elijah Vera-Tucker, who, if he comes back to perform, even if he's a little less than what he was, that's an A-level player. And he's in between two young guys, right? So at center, you might be a little weaker. You're going to have some issues maybe with Jared Wilson because he's young. But overall, you're going to be better in the long run because you tweak the formula a little bit. Like, this is probably still an offensive line that at moments will have their issues, but you're going to be better in the long run for having Vera-Tucker there in between those young guys.
And you think getting Bradbury out of the picture is a very good thing.
Yeah, definitely. But again, but you're going to a young center. You know, I had dreams of Tyler Linderbaum, who ended up getting $27 million a year from the Raiders to go anchor that offensive line. That wasn't going to happen in New England. But if you had big ass Linderbaum in there, now you're talking about keeping Wilson at guard and having a guy in there who's a true anchor. Now you have to hope Wilson develops into that kind of player. And there have been lots of guys in the NFL who have played one of the guard spots and then slid over to center after a year of conceptually understanding the scheme so they can be the ones to call it. And that's where having a Pro Bowl guy like Vera-Tucker there. Now, look, is Romeo Doubs better than Diggs, player to player? No, but I think Doubs fits better.
So one thing before we go to Doubs, because I think we'll have a lot there in terms of Vera-Tucker, right? Kind of low floor, high ceiling, right? That obviously he's been banged up a lot. So that could be, you know, who knows how much he's going to see the field. But if he does, it's maybe a different level of talent. Like it was a good group of guys, like good men, but getting kind of an elite level talent there. Obviously they hope Campbell can elevate. But I mean, ultimately, if he's healthy, the ceiling's very high.
Oh, no, this is a guy who is a proven all-pro caliber guy whenever he's right. That's why I said if he's a cut below and say he's only a Pro Bowl guard, you know, that's a big win for the Patriots. Now, look, Jay, he missed all last year. I am assuming he is healthy because they paid him as if he was a healthy player. They protected themselves with a bunch of, you know, in-game or roster bonuses, basically. So they did sort of split the baby just in case there could be a problem there. But, you know, if he plays well, they're committed to paying him some real dollars. So to me, I go into the year feeling like Wilson's the center and then Vera-Tucker is the left guard. Now they got to go about finding their depth. They have Ben Brown. They need another inside guy, and they got to replace Fedarian Lowe. They got to go find a swing tackle. I know they have old Mumford and Son, but he was really, you know, the sixth guy that they would bring in as a fat tight end. So I don't know if he really factors in very much, but now it's time to try to build that depth.
I love it. All right. You can talk about Romeo Doubs now. And I have a lot to say about Romeo Doubs, but maybe Cody can chase this up. My brother pushed out a tweet talking about, can we just retire the number 87, right, for Gronk? I understand football numbers, you know, they're not a dime a dozen. If you keep retiring them all, nobody's going to have any numbers to play with. But the far and away the greatest tight end in the history of the game, John wants a Gronk statue out in front. It was a few days ago, Cody. Don't worry about it. But I'm with John here 100%. Like I before I want to talk about Dobbs, I'm with John. We are identical twins. I'm with John. I want to talk about retiring the number 87 before we talk about Romeo Doubs. Go ahead.
Well, I know that that's why they built the Hall of Fame, because I think they learned from like the Green Bay Packers. If you retire too many numbers, then you back yourself into a corner. And I think overall as a practice, Jay, that really isn't the Celtics retire almost everybody's good player number. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they go overboard with it. But I think, I don't want to say the NFL frowns upon it, but I don't think they exactly encourage it.
Right. But like John Hanna's 73 is up there, right?
I don't know how many retired.
We got to find that out, Cody. Sorry, Cody. I'm going to put you to work live. And I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like, come on, 87. Here's the tweet. Love Romeo Doubs to the Pats. Let's please just retire Gonk. This is Menino, Gonk, Wilcock, and Gonk. Tom Menino, Mayer back in the day. I understand it's rare to retire NFL numbers because you need them, but no Patriots, you wear 87 again. Please, and build him a statue, maybe.
All right, here we go. I got him. Official retired numbers. Brady. Yes. So 12 is out.
Yeah.
Gino Cappelletti, 20 is gone. Mike Haynes, 40. Steve Nelson, 57. Hog Hanna, 73. Bruce Armstrong, 78. What an asshole he is.
What?
Jim Lee Hunt, 79. He was a D tackle in the 60s and 70s. And then Bob D, number 89. So 12, 20, 40, 57, 73, 78, 79, 89 are retired.
You could play a great game.
Hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It said, note, while not officially retired, the Patriots also rarely issue number 54 and 87, keeping them out of circulation.
The 54 thing is bullshit because Hightower wore it, correct, for a long time after Brewski. What are we talking about there? Right?
Yeah. Well, maybe
So
maybe it's for both of them. I don't know. Maybe that was a male.
Oh, that's
thing because
interesting.
they hired
Yeah,
him.
I mean,
don't know.
but ultimately we're all gonna die. So if they both got to wear it, it's like someone. I'm not suggesting Brewski's number should be retired. Gronk is a different conversation, and these guys can
100%.
wear single digits now, right? So if Bruce Armstrong is up there, Gronk's number should be retired. So I had to start there. But what I want to ask you about Romeo Doubs, right? I'm in this Boston sports text chat, and everybody keeps talking about the Patriots needing a number one receiver, a number one guy, right? And I believe in this receiving core maybe more than anyone in the nation. It's like, I believe in Kyle Williams' ability to take a jump. I believe in Booty. I don't believe in needing that number one guy. How many of them are across the league of 32 teams? 7 or 8 number one guys. So for me, Romeo Doubs, to me, fits that bill enough. I like moving on from Diggs maybe a year too early rather than a year too late. And if he wants to come back something more team friendly, I'm all for that too. But the tail is not wagging the dog there. I just love it. And I don't think they need more at receiver.
You know what's interesting? In early Brady, right before he just became this unbelievable legend, early Brady was throw the ball to the open guy, right? Think about early Brady's wide receivers. Branch, who they drafted, Troy Brown, who they inherited, David Patton, who they signed.
David
right?
Givens.
They drafted Givens. He came through. But think about it. All of that, if I'm not mistaken, Deion Branch had an 1,100-yard season under Tom Brady, which ultimately got him paid in Seattle. But they also added tight ends who could at least catch the ball. Now the kind of tight ends that you're getting, it's almost like having more wide receivers on the field. So if you believe in Drake Maye and Josh McDaniels and their ability to continue to craft offense and have the kid get better at reading defenses to the point of having just, the one guy that you're going to throw the ball 50 yards down the field and he's going to try to go catch it like A.J. Brown, all of these guys fit the Patriots offense in different ways. I think Romeo Doubs makes them more versatile offensively than having Diggs out there because of the routes that Doubs will run and what they'll ask him to do. You don't have a diva there where you would be maybe not afraid, but reticent to be like, hey, you better stick your nose in somebody's chest plate and block someone if you're going to stay out here. The great wide receivers, some of them are just like, you, whatever, and they just go out and do their thing. So I think you have a group of guys who fit like a puzzle. Mac Hollins is a bigger piece to this than I originally thought when they signed him. That was a name there, Jay, that when you think of Pop Douglas in the slot, Kyle Williams and the ability to play outside, Hollins who can line up everywhere. We know Booty is a pretty good downfield guy. I think Doubs can be a good downfield guy, but that's short to intermediate stuff. Remember Brandon LaFell? Give me 65.
LaFell, yes.
There you go. But guys who's running the hook routes like that kind of outside stuff.
And this is good real quick
better.
from Cody. Troy Brown had 1,200 receiving yards in 2001, didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver until Moss in 2007. Sort of echoes, right? What we're saying is pretty deep at that position. I don't think they need A.J. Brown to win a Super Bowl. Continue.
I'll tell you the impact guy. I like the Draymond Jones signing. I like that. I think Reggie Gilliam is a sneaky good signing, the fullback from Buffalo.
I do too.
Go ahead. I want to hear you
before
first.
we go to him, Draymond Jones, because I have a question for you there. So
Please.
Patriots agreed a 3-year, $39.5 million contract with Jones. Now, Baltimore, obviously, we know what happened with Max Crosby. They went and got Hendrickson from Cincinnati. I'm not a big Hendrickson guy necessarily, right? But Draymond Jones, right? Do you think if Baltimore knew Max was going to fall apart, you think they would have tried to come to terms with Draymond Jones, or you think they really like the kid from Cincinnati, Hendrickson?
No, I think they were in the we're going to make a splash mode.
Gotcha.
Harbaugh's out of the building. Now is the time to go get someone big. The word was they were trying to figure out how to get Hendrickson and Crosby into that defense. And now that would have been an insane amount of money for, two guys that in the end, when you cash it up, wouldn't be worth it.
Talk to me about Gilliam.
I don't think they would have gone back to Jones,
Dre.
but that's good. I know people hate the word value because it makes it sound like it's cheap, but for what they're going to get out of this guy and what they're going to pay him, he's going to outplay his contract, in my opinion. I think we're going to love Draymond Jones. Here's the thing about Reggie Gilliam, okay? We've talked about how are they going to handle pass protection. They got to help the kid. They got to have somebody who might be, if Will Campbell gets dinged up again at tackle, that knee injury rendered him a different player, right? So now you get somebody who understands protection, who knows what they're doing, who, if you want to sleep on them, fine, we'll throw him a 5-yard flat route, let him turn around and T-bone one of your defensive, one of your corners. I think if you think about all the different ways Josh McDaniels, more than just in the run game, but in the protection game, have used fullbacks and in the passing game as well, that gets me excited because those are the little plays that if you're this far away, those are the plays that make you this far away as a football team. And I thought that and the signing of that tight end, Hill, who's really nothing more than a blocker, those are the kind of guys you need to shore up your protection, yet still allow all your people to get out and route.
Well, and Gilliam, right? Addition by subtraction. You subtract him from the Buffalo Bills. You think Joe Brady and Josh Allen are thrilled that he's playing for New England. And I just love the decisiveness. The Patriots are going out and getting their guys. We could talk about a lot of different guys. Kevin Byard, I got people texting me about this guy, former Vrabel guy with the Titans from 2018 to 2023. The way that Mike Vrabel moves the needle, you talk about free agents and a magnet for free agents. Look what he did last year. You think number 97 in your program is hungry to try and get the Patriots back there? I just like a lot of it. And you talk about Julian Hill, right? That's a real money. 3-year deal could be worth up to $18 million. That's real money. So, and the Byard, that's a 1-year deal, $8 million. And look, as much as we love Jalen Hawkins, he wasn't part of what they wanted to do.
Well, here's the thing. When you think of dudes like Kayvon Chason and Jalen Hawkins, that's your dudes that you brought in and gave them a chance and they proved themselves. So are they 1-year wonders? Well, guess what? I'm not going to pay to find out. And that's where that was a Belichick way of doing things. Why did they have so many years of an undrafted free agent making the roster? Because normally they were kicking somebody off the back end of that roster who might have been in the same role, but they found someone who was a little bit cheaper, to Belichick $100,000. He would always count that kind of stuff.
Dude, the Patriots secondary right now with Byard and the kid Woodson, who was great as a rookie, right? Davis and Christian Gonzalez, that secondary. Tell you what, man, I still want them to go do something for Max Crosby. I know that's not good. That whole situation is bananas. I know we got to move to baseball, but that Max Crosby situation,
he's not worth what they're paying him. He does not. Does he sex up the team? 100%, makes them more fun, all that kind of stuff. There are way better ways to spend $30 million than to bring in that guy.
Yeah, I hear you.
If you're gonna hold on, let me hit you with this right now. Bob Kraft said, Jason, because of the amazing work that you've done in growing as a broadcaster, I now trust you to pick. I'm gonna spend $30 million. Do I spend it on AJ Brown or do I spend it on the tattooed guy in Vegas?
The tattooed guy in Vegas every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I wouldn't even think twice. Oh, I am on the mat unless there's some real health concern. Oh no, I think he moves the needle like few others. come at me. I mean, like and people want to talk about, oh, it's not just about the motor. That's a huge piece for me. And that motor motivates his teammates. I love everything about that guy. I feel as though Max Crosby's going to hold up a Lombardi trophy at some point, and I wouldn't mind it being in New England. I wish there was. And by the way, I've been saying all along for weeks, no way Brady trades him to New England. And then you see the reports come out. I'm not connected, but my fucking brain's connected.
No, but that's the thing. And you know what? When I was out in Vegas last weekend, what Raider fans I did talk to, they were of the same thing. Like, look, he's got to build trust with his audience, with his ticket buyers. And any trade to New England that wasn't an over. Now, if New England said, we'll give you 3 first-round picks, okay, then I think Brady might have done the deal. Because he could sell 3 first-rounders. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, he would be completely burying himself when it comes to his own backyard. Who do they have as? I don't even know who in the world they have as the favorite now. I'm assuming Crosby's probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it is fascinating that they can still afford to sort of keep everybody they acquired. I mean, I guess they probably thought of that if it fell through, they needed to be able to, but they got some really nice pieces to sort of build that team. You know, if Mendoza's the real deal, they could flip it quickly. We saw it happen in New England and other places, even last year with the Washington Commanders. So I sent you a roller coaster emoji about the Red Sox. Did you see the roller coaster emoji in our text chain?
Yes,
and it is funny. You can create emojis now. This is as far as AI goes for me, as I create fucking fake emojis. But John was being a bitch the other day, my brother John. So I sent him I created a pacifier emoji.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Here's that. Fucking suck on that pacifier, motherfucker.
Was he hot?
Oh, he laughed. See, I got him out of it. Oh, the goal was right. I snapped him out of whatever he was in. You send him a fucking pacifier. Anyway, but yeah, it is excited to see the Red Sox play in the World Baseball Classic. Roman Anthony, right? We're just smashing the ball. It's fun to watch, man. Obviously, it's a little bit early, but how excited are you relative to this baseball season around the corner, right? Mid-March.
I can only be honest on this show. I've watched 1 inning of the WBC, and it was only because I was live on ESPN radio, and I thought I was maybe going to have to talk about the last inning.
I
literally
watching Ranger Suarez.
No, I have not watched any of this, and I don't know. For me, it just hasn't grabbed me, and I don't know why. Because if the baseball All-Star game were as competitive and as hotly contested as these games are, they'd really have something again with the All-Star game. And you can't go to this format all the time. I guess you can do USA versus the world maybe, or however they
what
would
did the NHL do last year?
They did that. They did it was
Canada
like
versus the US.
Well, they did the 4 nations deal, and
right.
Those guys got into it from a nationalistic standpoint, and the NHL turned it into something. But I'm a bad sports fan, I guess, for not really having watched. I know Roman Anthony hit the big home run last night for the USA because, there were people popping bottles on Twitter last night over it.
I'm just excited for the season. I think they've done, without some big splash, I think they're going to be better. I think Cora is the right man, obviously, to lead them. They're still sort of favored to make the playoffs. And I think if they get off to a hot start in April and Garrett Crochet continues to sort of be that horse, I think they absolutely could be right in the mix. And Roman Anthony is doesn't matter how old he is. He was banged up. Had he not got injured last year, things could have been very different.
And I think they're expecting him to jump to like a 40 homer guy. I'm not so sure about that. But for me, it still just comes down to the lineup. Their pitching is good enough to win it all. That I do not question. I think from a pitching standpoint, they're pretty good, and they got some prospects down in the minors who I think would be able to come in and help if there is significant injury. For me, it's just really about the lineup, and are the young guys all going to pop, or are all the young guys just going to kind of be okay and take nice steps forward, or are some of them going to shit the bed? I'm very interested in the lineup, and that's where your point about Cora is so well taken. If there's somebody who understands how to manage a roster and push buttons, Alex Cora is usually that guy.
So I was in Vegas when you were in Vegas, or right before you were in Vegas. And this was right before Jason Tatum made his season debut on Friday, March 6th. So I'm in the casino, and my brother, if you recall, he does this thing with his bosses where he buys a bunch of $100 future tickets and they pick a few off the table, right? So he was buying all these tickets. And so he threw me a couple $100 for me to go play, right? Thank you, Jonathan. We appreciate it. So anyway, I know I want to place a future bet on the NBA. And so I'm looking at the NBA odds. It's before Tatum returned. And I'm trying to think to myself, like, I'm obviously not going to OKC, even though they're chalk. I don't think they win at all, even though they're basically minus 110 or whatever they are. I haven't looked today. So, but I knew I wasn't going to OKC. I thought about the Spurs a little bit because I think maybe the Spurs have a chance to win. Maybe they're a year away, but I like how they match up against OKC. The Knicks, I feel like every time I play the Knicks, it's like a happiness hedge. And I believed in them maybe more last year than this year. So I'm looking at this board and I'm saying to myself, who do I think's going to win the championship? And the team that kept coming back to me was the Boston fucking Celtics, Gresh, at 10-1. So that's the team I played. And this was before Tatum stepped foot on the court. It's hard for me not to believe the Celtics have a great chance to come out of the East. And if I am a Western Conference team, that's the team I wouldn't want to see.
So I remember, about 3 weeks ago on VSiN, I asked a couple different people about the Celtics number to win the Eastern Conference with Tatum, about to come back, right? And everybody told me, Tatum's already baked in. The 3 weeks ago, to win the East, the Celtics were plus 370. They're now plus 160. Bad advice, right? Bad advice.
Right.
Imagine now looking at them at plus 160 to win the East, and you got, 200 more in juice on your wager. So it does go to show that the betting markets can drive those numbers, even if the Tatum thought was baked in, they can drive them even lower. But there are a lot of people out there who are now starting to buy that the Pistons are young, and normally that's a death blow in the second round of the playoffs. And if it's going to be some version of Cleveland with James Harden, who's never won anything, and the Knicks, who fired their coach and brought in another guy and said, find a way to get more out of the same people, the Celtics are as just alive a chance as anybody to go to the NBA Finals.
Yes, it really is so interesting. I love that you brought up the point about guys saying he's already baked into the line. It is baked into the line until it isn't. Once he hits the floor and you watch him play and he looks healthy, that has the ability to certainly move the betting line. It's unique because I actually, dare I say, think they had a puncher's chance without him. Is that crazy to come out of the East? That the Celtics would have a puncher's chance without Jason Tatum? Is that going too far?
No, they would need the right matchups. Like, namely, they would need to get Detroit in the second round, because that's where the veteran presence of the Celtics would be able to push them over the hump, I think, in that series without Tatum. But you throw Tatum into this mix, my God. And he hasn't come back. Now, he's only averaged 28 minutes a game. I know he sat out that OKC game that they lost by 2. But if they can get this guy to 35 minutes by the end of the regular season, and you're getting that every other night at the level that he's been playing at, Jason Tatum just didn't rehab to get back and then get on the floor and sharpen the skills. This guy was knives sharpened coming back, which was something that I think surprised a lot of us.
It's a very good way to put it, knives sharpened. And, in terms of the return, like, obviously, if he's healthy enough to get back on an NBA court, there's so much intensive training that happens and testing that Achilles before you would ever get to that spot. But everybody kept talking about sort of the mental thing. And that really is so real. Like, my mom, who watches all 82, talked about him sort of getting rebounds on one foot. And I started to think about it. Like, I'm actually glad it's the right foot. Those of us that play basketball that are right-handed players, gosh, if you're going to tell me I blow out an Achilles, make it be my right foot, my plant foot, my left foot, even though I know Euro steps are popular. But there it is, conference winner, Celtics favorite. favored. I just think, and Gresh, I'm more apt to bet against the Celtics than on them, but I couldn't deny what I thought was a good number for them at 10-1. I think they're live, Gresh. I think they got a great chance. And if they have home court over the Knicks, and also based on what happened last year, you think they don't want to beat the fucking Knicks?
Oh, no question. I'm sure Tatum is going to take it personal if they end up playing the Knicks. I hope the one thing that everyone on that roster remembers with Tatum now back, and this includes Tatum as well, everybody's got to give a little. And I understand that Jaylen Brown during the year, the insecurity set in, and it was, how come I'm not player of the week, or how come I'm not player of the month, or he's out there stumping for himself. When I think of the Showtime Lakers, Jay, Worthy, Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, AC Green, Michael Thompson, Magic, Kareem, all of those guys in different places probably have bigger careers, if you know what I mean. But together, they all sacrificed and they became legendary. And I hope that in particular, Tatum and Brown really remember that, because even though Tatum worked his ass off to come back, it doesn't mean that he would get the special treatment of getting the ball more or anything like that. It still has to be, they've all got to fit together like a puzzle. So if it means that Tatum doesn't score 30 points a game coming back, tough shit, help in other ways. And I'm just hoping that the unselfishness with this team is something that Joe Mazzulla can continue to get this team to buy into, to be great, because roster-wise, they're better than the other three teams in the top of the East.
And they're better. Don't you think they're better than they were last year?
Well, they're different.
Roster?
Yeah.
They're different.
Here's what it is. If you match last year's roster healthy up to a lot of teams, then yes, I would agree. Then they're different than everybody, including Oklahoma City, because of Porzingis and the impact he would have had if he were healthy. This group is now, I believe, kind of more appropriately built around Jaylen and Jason, and that it's really now, though it's their team, because D White understands how to blend in. Like, D White is okay being the third with those two guys.
Yeah, he can be Byron Scott. He can be a member of that Showtime Lakers. I love your Showtime Lakers comparison. And I do believe Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, especially being led by Joe Mazzulla, can tap into that, right? That rings prioritize all pros.
Yes, absolutely.
And the fact that Jaylen Brown won that NBA MVP, the NBA Finals MVP,
yeah.
Right? That is like a beautiful feather in his cap, like juxtaposed to Jason Tatum, who's been all team, first all NBA all pro first team, whatever it is. So I hope that they prioritize championships, and I think they do. And I think there's a lot of much ado about nothing in terms of their relationship. And I think being able to take steps back, it's like you talk about the Showtime Lakers, Worthy comes to mind. Kevin McHale got his in Boston too. And so ultimately it's like, neither one of them are Larry Bird, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. And that should serve them well. I think if they can strike the right balance, there's no reason why they can't represent the East and give OKC or whoever else problems.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about the old multiple big threes, but I definitely think now with the Celtics, it's the big two, and then there's room for a different third. Because here's the thing. They'll end up having a little bit of money to spend in free agency to go get someone who might be on their, hey, I've had a hell of a career, but I know that in a different role, I can still play at a high level. Give me $14 million a year. And the next thing you know, the third wheel has kind of changed. And
I want that to be
slid down a little bit.
I want that to be LeBron James. He
That'd
just would never play for Boston. He just won't do it. So as we move forward to our final topic of the day. So Nate Diaz, you heard that Nate Diaz is on this Carano.
You know what?
Rousey card.
I didn't know. I didn't at all. In fact, you know what I did? So Ronda Rousey's ready to, do business or whatever. She showed up at AEW Wrestling last night, calling out one of their performers.
Wow.
So yeah, Ronda's, I guess it's tax time. Gotta make some money.
Cody, the graphics look phenomenal today. Great job there. So wait, whoa. Is it
Hold on.
Diaz?
Is that
Perry?
Diaz and
Shut
Mike Perry? Stop it.
Am I real? No. So I'm sitting here talking about Nate Diaz and it's my boy Mike Perry fighting him. Are you kidding me?
I had no idea.
Did that get announced at the same time? Platinum Mike Perry and I'm burying the lead.
Hold on.
It is Platinum Mike motherfucking Perry. Okay, Platinum. That is unbelievable to me.
Yup. Here we go. 49 minutes ago, reported by, now it was out a little bit. USA Today had a post up 49 minutes ago. Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry added to Rousey versus Carano card.
So for those of you that don't know, I'm a commentator for Dirty Boxing. Mike Perry is a broadcast partner of mine. He's one of the founders of Dirty Boxing. So I've gotten to know him, the king of violence, bare knuckle fighter. That is bananas. Find me an MMA fan that is not riveted by that matchup in MMA, a couple months away. Wow.
Well, here's the question. Will Mike Perry have a corner man, or will he do what he did in one of his final UFC fights, go to the ring with his girlfriend and whatever cut guy is going to come in and put ice on his neck, and she's going to mutter to him, and he's just going to be like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah,
dude, well, and she's become a great force in his life, and that's a long time since that happened. The dude's a well-oiled machine right now.
Funny. That was funny as hell when he did that, I thought.
Dude, but I'll tell you right now, it's very interesting. Platinum is probably getting a bag, right? And Platinum wasn't too happy with the IRS back in the day, a little few months back, right? So hopefully getting an absolute bag. He, obviously in that Jake Paul, sort of family, but this is just absolutely bananas. I can't believe that I probably saw a headline somewhere. It's been a busy day, but wow. All
right, so in the story that I'm reading here, Jay, it says the fight will be contested under unified rules of MMA inside of a hexagon cage for 5-minute rounds. So essentially, it's the co-main event, or it is the.
Yeah. Well, wait. Is it Francis Ngannou on this card too? I mean, are you kidding me?
Is he really? Like, I don't know the rest of the card. I know the main event. That's it.
So co-main event Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. So,
okay, I didn't know that.
So while typically the entertainment avenue of combat sports doesn't move the needle for me, this does. Right? Like you tell me, like Carano, Rousey, that moves the needle, but Perry and Nate Diaz, I mean, that is, and Ngannou, I mean, like, wow.
Gina Carano moves it.
Hey, I wonder if Lins may slot out of there and find Jon Jones in there. I don't think the UFC going to grant him his requested release, but just absolutely bananas that. Wow.
I mean, now this is under the Jake Paul promotion. This is under MVP. Wow. So how much? I mean,
my mind is blown.
What do you think the main eventers are getting for that?
Well, see, it's a great question. Certainly.
Let me. No. Okay. Over 5 million?
8 figures is what I meant.
Oh, okay. So you're in the 10, 11, 12.
Well,
maybe?
Ronda Rousey, I would think, is making north of 10 million.
I was going to say she's the A side of this. Like,
right.
I would think
Nate Diaz isn't showing up for, and I'm sure Mike Perry, they're all probably doing pretty well. I don't know what Cody Carano has money, I guess. But, I don't know how this all breaks down, but they're all getting very well taken care of. I'm sure Francis Ngannou's commanding a bag.
Well, I'm just trying to think about, what's the outlay just for the fighters on the card. Like that, that card is going to be, good Lord. I mean, if you figure that combined in some way, shape, or form, Rousey and Carano are 20 million. With maybe one gets 12 and the other one gets 8. It feels heavy for Gina Carano, but still. And Ngannou's got to be getting 10 with the way he negotiates. Like,
right. I mean, I would think he would command that. Felipe Lins, maybe.
No,
I don't know. But if I had to guess, and I have no knowledge, I would guess that Diaz is probably getting
Couple
a few $1 million. And I don't
Yeah.
think Perry would be much far behind him. Let's fucking go, Platinum. I don't think he'd be far behind him. That's crazy. I'm just thrilled because every time I see my friend Mike Perry, I say, Mike, can we please just fight with gloves? I'm like, Mike, dirty boxing or MMA, just please, no bare knuckle. And he gets right up in my face. And he's like, I love that bare knuckle. I'm just like, man, you know?
No, he's a different cat. There's no question about it. And I know I'm pulling this off the top of your head. Who are the others that are out there that are like fringe UFCers who might be able to jump in on something like this?
Cody throws in Tony Ferguson, Anderson Silva. I wonder how Chris Weidman's torn bicep is healing. He was supposed to face Silva. It ended up being Tyron Woodley. Fascinating conversation. Travis Brown, Cody.
No, that's funny. Opener.
Andre Arlovsky is he's getting up there, but battling cancer, but just won the bare knuckle title. This is just fascinating. Robbie Law. Yeah, I mean, it really is interesting. So this is a month before, just about a month before the White House card featuring Kyle Dawkins. Fascinating stuff. It's a joke. Anyway.
No, do you know what I was thinking of the other day? Because you mentioned the White House, that Venezuela, I think, beat Japan in the World Baseball Classic. That was the one inning that I was watching. And all I could think of is if Venezuela against the US, and then all of a sudden, Trump is there and we already wiped out Venezuela. We're going to do it in baseball now.
Oh, he's got Trump too.
Paul Skeens got a hot girlfriend. That's going to lead him to success and tired legs. All right. See you later. That kind of thing. I don't know. It just made me wonder.
Well, you saw Rogan's comments, right?
Yeah.
Public comments about the White House, everybody in the same place. So then he sort of trailed off. Didn't want to bring that narrative, but once you utter it, Joseph Rogan, it's public.
He knows what he's doing. And you know what? It's not, again, it's not unfair to ask those questions in the old times we live. I can only imagine, honest to God, I hope that the John Anik app is filming for the whole behind the scenes at the White House and stuff like that.
That'll probably be, I wonder if all the phones are going in a basket or something. You know me, take my phone. Maybe I'll wear some of those Meta glasses.
That would be awesome. And what a great line, by the way. What a dad line that is. Oh, take my phone.
Oh, hey, call me a dad. Call me a dad. Well, it really is interesting because my daughter's in middle school, is 6th grade, and she's the only one without a phone, right? And everybody's at the bus stop like this, right? And so my daughter's the only one without a cell phone, right? She has a flip phone, right? But what's interesting is it's become real difficult for me to reach her. She has a lot going on, so I get these calls from the school. She's calling from the school house phone to reach me. That's the world she lives in. But we got her a flip phone for when she travels. But she gets this flip phone. She's texting like T9 Word. You remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
When, so there's nothing on it. And that's how we want it. So she's got a little flip phone. But anyway, before we get out of here, I do want to talk to you about the PGF real quick, the Professional Grappling Federation, because we are immersed in the 2026 season. So I've told you about this, but for those you don't know, it's every Wednesday night on YouTube and Kick, 7:00 Eastern, the Professional Grappling Federation. But Gresh, he's modeling it. Brandon McCaffrey, BMAC, he was on the Anik Florian podcast today, but they're modeling it after the NFL. So there are 4 franchises, right? So 2 weeks of the 5-week regular season have gone by. 1 team's in the basement. You have 2 sort of front-running teams. But it really is cool. And it really matters to these teams. 4 franchises. We've talked about it. So it's pretty cool, man, and I'm enjoying it. So wheels up again out there tomorrow for week 3, and after the 5-week regular season, there's a playoff, but a lot of juice. This is Cody's article on Fight Bananas about it, but I'm telling you, it's really legitimate and fun to watch. And I was joking with John saying, I think I might like jiu-jitsu more than MMA, given the PGF format. I mean, if you're Gresh, if the action isn't moving forward, they throw penalty flags like in the NFL. I mean, it's a real deal. Anyway,
is expansion coming to PGF?
It is. Brandon dropped on the broadcast, I think, St. Louis. Now, I think next season they're going to be, it's going to go from 4 to 8. So right now we have the Las Vegas Kings, the Alabama Twisters, which is 9 individual gym owners pooled their money together to come up with $1 million+ to buy the team, the Alabama Twisters. Then you have the 2 expansion franchises this year, the Philadelphia Phenoms and the Colorado Wolverines. So next year there's going to be St. Louis and a few other desks. I want to do a roster or a franchise in Massachusetts called the Boston Pops, right? The jiu-jitsu guys,
Very
right?
nice.
Get popped an
like
ankle,
that.
right?
Yeah.
We know the
Very
Boston
good.
Symphony Orchestra, the Boston Pops. How about the Boston Pops, Gresh? Maybe we'll get you to invest someday.
Apparently there's going to be an international team.
Yeah, is that what Cody jumped there?
Yeah.
I mean, also, right now there's a promotion in Australia that has adapted the PGF rule set, where it's submission only, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So it's starting to get some juice, but Brandon McCaffrey is doing things the right way. It's like, I love it. I look forward to it. I said to them in the green room this week, I said, I get butterflies for most of all the broadcasting work I do, all the acting stuff I did back in the day, butterflies. I was like, but this PGF, it's the most I'm excited for. Like, in a way that I get kind of excited to do this show and talk New England sports with you, sitting down to do the PGF is a really special excitement that's very unique to my broadcasting career.
Dude, I love it, and I love that you love it, and I've been trying to consume it more and more. They're doing a good job on social media of getting clips out there and sort of, explaining to people or showing people that this is a thing. And you and I have talked about this a lot. UFC is a brand of MMA fighting, right? People think that MMA fighting is UFC, when in reality it isn't. There's all these other disciplines, and now MMA is growing so much, these other disciplines can carve out their audiences. Real American Freestyle, your guy Bilal Muhammad, I know that he went a part of that.
Well, you look at Arman Tsarukyan just running roughshod through that promotion. But you're right. There are a lot of things out there in the UFC, right? Fading in the minds of some fans these days, dare I say.
And I think that competition is good for the fighters, when you're seeing guys like Bilal and Arman Tsarukyan and people like that who are flirting with Real American Freestyle. There's a payday that comes with that. There are people who are running that. I think his guy's name is Izzy Martinez or something like that. And Eric Bischoff, who used to run WCW. That's why I know, because he talks about it on his podcast. They got a deal with, I think it's like Fox Nation or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They got like a streaming partner. So there are plenty other brands who have the ability to grow. Dirty Boxing is one as well. Are you guys in Miami the same weekend the UFC is in Miami?
Yes. And their goal, Malky Kawa, who's the CEO and founder of First Round Management, who they run Dirty Boxing, he said they're trying to drop boots on the ground where the UFC is. So they're trying to be in the DC area on June 13th, the night before that UFC card. So yeah, we'll be. And what I'll say, anyone listening who's coming to Miami, I meet a lot of these UFC fans, boots on the ground, that don't end up going to the event because it's expensive. Dirty Boxing the night before. Check it out. Worth your time and money. You can be sure.
Interim, you got an interim heavyweight championship fight, it looks like.
Yeah, we do.
For
Rob Perez,
well.
Worcester, Massachusetts' own Rob Perez versus Big Michael Garcia, who's 2-0 in Dirty Boxing. So, yeah. And I'll tell you right now, co-main event, Montavious Ware versus Luis Saldana. It's a former UFC fighter. Montavious Ware, I keep that name quiet because I want him to stay with us in Dirty Boxing. He's that electric.
Oh, gotcha.
Don't want anyone to steal that kid.
You gotcha. You don't want him to get poached.
That's the word I was looking for, Andrew.
There you go. Don't want him to get poached, baby. Well, I think that's it. By the way, up here in New England, we're getting apparently like a hell of a storm tonight, like 60-mile-an-hour winds and rain, but the snow is gone. That's a good thing. I have a little bit in the mountain in the cul-de-sac, but that'll go with the 1.5 inches of rain we're getting overnight.
It's just, and today, it's funny. I was on a Zoom with some people in LA today, and they were like, how's the weather? And it's like mostly cloudy today, 82 degrees. But I'll tell you, the older I get, man, I appreciate it. Talking about the weather here on Gas. But Cody, great job at the helm today. That black and white. I bet you like it in the back as well, Cody and Gresh.
Bo, I dig it. Hey, quickly, I almost forgot. Did you fill out a bracket? I know you're not Mr. College Basketball, but did you do what, Jane at the office does and just fill it out and say, here we go?
Not yet. And do you have one that I can enter? Should we put one online for gas or something?
Oh, mine is already up on Twitter. I had to get my bracket filled out and sent to VSiN so they could put it in the guide. But my final four is Duke in the East. I have Duke, UConn in the conference or in the East final there. I got Florida against Houston in the South final with Florida winning. Arizona against Gonzaga in the conference in that final in the West with Arizona winning. And then Michigan, Iowa State. I got Iowa State moving on. I think I feel that, believe it or not, as crazy as it is, I picked like 3 number ones. I feel the best about Iowa State. They've been playing great.
Dude, this is music to my motherfucking ears.
Oh, no.
So, Gresh, I placed one bet. I didn't fill out a bracket, but I placed one bet, 22.5 to 1 on the Iowa State Cyclones to win the whole motherfucking thing.
Oh,
because I'm looking for a dark horse. They blow some teams out. They have a chance, I think, to play some defense, tough to penetrate. Why not? Little flyer. I mean, it's such a chalky field and tournament this year, right? So you like the Cyclones a little bit too?
Yeah, no. Hey, here's what I would say. You'll probably get a much better number for them to make the Final Four. If you believe in them to win the whole thing, they got to get to the Final Four. You might be able to get them at good money. So hop back in and see if you can get some Final Four squeeze out of that.
It now.
And then I got Duke, Arizona with Duke winning. I worked with, if you remember the name Norris Cole, he played for the Heat. Yeah. So I did ESPN radio with him Saturday night, and he told me all I needed to know about those Boozer brothers. And I said, oh, but the young one's getting in now. And he goes, you just wait. And then he explained to me, he's like, all those kids have done is won. Here's why you should believe in them. He really convinced me that Duke is going to be okay, even though they had a big injury at point guard.
Good stuff there. Used to rock that flat top Norris Cole back in the day. Had some games where he was a big problem.
And then he went like everywhere. I didn't get to ask him off the air about all these like outposts he went to. Like I think he played in like Italy and Turkey and Spain. And like I would love to just pick the brain of an international baller like that.
I'm with you.
Yeah, cool
Good
stuff
today.
Yes,
buddy.
sir, buddy. And that is it for us. Great job by Cody Merrow today, keeping us on the straight and narrow. Don't forget to subscribe at The Real Gresh on YouTube, and make sure you get the notification set for gas when we are live, because we do move around a little bit because we are human beings and we have schedules and things that we have to do. All right, for Jay, I'm Gresh. That's it. We out.
Right from the start.